Hello and welcome in. I am Greg Smith, recruiting extraordinaire of Hail Varsity. I'm joined once again this week by Steve Marik, staff writer for Hail Varsity, and we are back with another Thursday football video of the week. First things first, Steve, how are you, my man?
I'm doing great, Greg. This is an interesting little lineup we have today. I'm excited to get going with it.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. We've got, I think, a good topic here today for our football video of the week. As we always just kind of talk back and forth about what we'll discuss on these videos. And we kind of stumbled into something that I think is interesting for this upcoming season. Which one is more likely to happen for Nebraska this year, a 1,000-yard receiver or a 1,000-yard rusher? And who would be your pick if you're going to select one of those?
Yeah, and it is an interesting question, and I think a really good question to talk about. But then you look at the history of Nebraska football, and then with the 1,000-yard receivers, there's only been one, I believe, right? With
Yeah.
Stanley Morgan, and he just got over that 1,000-yard receiving mark when he did it. So yeah, it's a interesting question, and one I think that we're going to have fun tackling here. So who wants to go first, me or you?
I'll go first.
Okay.
And we have not discussed who we're picking or which category we're picking. I think it's more likely that Nebraska gets a 1,000-yard receiver. And I think that for a number of reasons. Number one, I actually think, and I'll get into who. Number one, I think that the Huskers will throw the ball more than I think people are I don't want to say comfortable with, because I think it's people have been gearing towards this. And I think the coaching staff and the players have kind of been pumping people up that they're going to throw the football more than maybe expected, just because we heard a lot of talk about that in the spring, right? A lot of people saying, hey, we're going to air it out. We've been airing it out in practice. And that's what we're going to do, even though we've heard a lot about the downhill running game as well. And I think that Casey Thompson, the nudge, wink, wink, as the starting quarterback, will be in a good position to put up some numbers. And the guy that I think he'll most throw the football to is Trey Palmer. I think that Palmer has a real opportunity to lead the team in basically all receiving categories. But I also think that part of this is big play related. And then I could see him getting some long scores or just some long completions, some long receptions in his case. And so I could see him going over that 1,000-yard mark for this season. Are you vibing with me on the receiver? Was that your pick?
No, it's not my pick.
Okay.
It's not my pick. I see where you're coming from and everything. And to go with your point, I think, if you look at Mark Whipple and his past offenses, there's been a lot of pass heavy offenses in there. And, his tendency to kind of find his most dangerous receiver and keep giving him and keep feeding him the ball, kind of like Andy Isabella at UMass and Jordan Madison at Pitt. I think Trey Palmer absolutely could be that guy here if everything kind of works out like it's supposed to. So yeah, but when I was thinking about this, I went the running back route, and I was going back and forth with this, and I know that there's a lot of running backs right now. There's four running backs: Ramir Johnson, Jacques Yant, Anthony Grant, Gabe Irvin Jr., who I really like and who I think can do really good things. And so, I don't, and a lot of them are going to get carries, I think, especially early in the season, which might cut down on the likelihood of a 1,000-yard receiver, just because so many guys I think are going to be getting carries. But I think one of them emerges, and I think one of them the team leans on. Brian Applewhite will find that guy, and they'll I think just kind of not have a 4-man rotation like they might have right now. And I think that someone out of that group, I starred Jacques Yant's name. I think Jacques might be the one who emerges. I think he's had a heck of an off season. He's cut his weight. He's still a really physical back at 230 pounds. We had the glimpse of him and his excellent performance against Northwestern last year. But I think that, an off season of learning and growing and developing on and off the field, I think is going to do him really, really well. So I don't know. I don't see the passing game clicking as much as I think a lot of people are hoping it will. I guess is what I'm saying. And then when you look back at the history of Nebraska football, obviously a run heavy program throughout the history, and only having one 1,000-yard receiver, and then just to have it pick up again, with Trey Palmer and Mark Whipple's first year, to have everything click like that. I don't know if I kind of agree with that, but yeah, it's a really interesting question. And again, I don't really like that I picked running 1,000-yard rusher either, just judging by how last year looked. So it's a really good question.
Yeah. So, and that's what makes it difficult, right? So I think that, man, on this one, I totally go with your logic. It's really weird is that I feel like we both had opposite answers, but can see the other person's logic on this one. Because I totally understand what you're saying about it could potentially take some time for the passing game to really click. The one thing I do really like about what you've heard in the offseason, really, and then started at the end of spring, was how much those guys talked about their desire to work together over the offseason and get together and throw every other day to make sure they're getting their timing and their routes down, right? Like I like hearing that sort of stuff because I think that will help, but there's only so much that can help when it's not real game action, right? Like you've got to build up those reps in a little while, in a way, in games and like simulated games, like scrimmages in practice, right? And so of those two things, though, the 1,000-yard rusher and the 1,000-yard runner, I will say this. I think that the 1,000-yard rusher would have a bigger impact on the team. I think that if I had to pick one, if you tell me, hey, one of these is going to happen and it will make Nebraska more successful, I would definitely say the 1,000-yard rusher. But I just think that would really, really help them control the football. It would help, obviously, to keep the defense off the field. It would also help them keep those passing downs more manageable, which I think will be a key, especially early in the season. And I just think that, like it or not, Nebraska is a program that needs to have its identity hung around being able to run the football successfully, whether that's, in the old traditional way where it's super run heavy and it's option, or if it's just being able to have a reliable ground game, which is what I think Frost wants to be able to have, is a reliable, explosive ground game. I think getting back to that would make people around here really, really happy. I don't know which guy I would pick, though, to be the 1,000-yard guy.
I didn't.
That would be really, that's that part of it is a lot harder for me.
I will have you know, when I put a star next to Yant's name, I was kind of squeaming. I was like, I don't know if I should do this. But, look, Gabe Ervin, heck of a kid, heck of a talented guy, beat everybody out last year as an 18-year-old true freshman, goes down with that knee injury against Oklahoma. Is he going to come back and look exactly like he did last year, or is it going to take some time? I think it's going to take some time, and I really like Gabe Ervin. I thought about putting my star next to his name, but I just think it's going to take a little bit of time. Just obviously, it's injury, and those things take time. Anthony Grant, I don't know, man. Just junior college backs. Obviously, he has talent.
So are you not? Can I don't jump in on you. Is it fair to say that you're in more wait and see mode on Anthony Grant? Are you not like full on the train? Okay.
No, I'm on a wait and see. I think that's kind of the safe bet. Like, I don't want to, assume he's going to be something and then watch him and it doesn't click, because it's junior college is tricky. Just following recruiting and seeing where guys go and how they do at the Power 5 level coming from junior college. It's not always a hit, right? And that's understandable. So, I go back to the spring game. Everybody talks about his run, but Simon Odie would have tackled him if he was allowed to tackle him. But
I feel like you are the Simon Odie truther.
I am a Simon Odie truther.
He's a great kid. Yeah, he's such a great kid.
Former York Duke would have brought him down, but then nobody would have been talking about Anthony Grant's long run.
Or Anthony Grant would have stiff armed him into the dirt and he would have kept running. You never know.
That is very true. That is very possible.
What's going to make that running back situation so intriguing to watch early on in spring, and I feel like we could end up having this discussion again in another few weeks, is because we don't know who's going to emerge as that guy. I am 100% with you, though, on this point, which is I think that they are going to end up settling into having a lead dog. I do think that that's going to happen. I don't know exactly when. I don't think it's going to be game 1 against Northwestern, but I feel like by the time you get to Oklahoma, I think you're gonna know who that lead dog is going to be, and it may change from what we think right now to what they start off the season to. Those all might be different, right? But remember that Divino Zigbo year, the only 1,000-yard running back rusher that Scott Frost has had, he didn't start the season off as the guy, right? He came on really strong in the back end of that season, so it's still possible, even if a guy doesn't start the year off, and like say Gabe Ervin needs some time to get his legs back under him, so to speak, then he could be a guy still that ends up hitting that 1,000-yard mark if he hits his stride later in the season. But I definitely think that that's the way. If you got to pick for me, and you guys let us know in the comments, but if it was me, I would pick the running back. But I personally think it's more likely that you get the receiver just by the function of the offense.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like you were saying with the running back situation, I'm with you that I don't think that they're going to find that guy week 0 against Northwestern. I think it's that competition and that kind of rotation is going to be ironed out. The North Dakota game, the Georgia Southern game is going to be really important, I think, because I think in those two games, especially those two non-conference games, that's when you want to like really show that you can control the line against an inferior opponent and just like have a good day on the ground. I think that's where you can maybe potentially see somebody like trying to separate themselves from the group. So I don't think it's going to be against Northwestern. That's a little bit too early, but
if it is, then somebody's really taking a big step, right? If somebody like rips off 200 yards against Northwestern, then okay, you've got the guy.
Maybe we should hand the ball off to that guy. But yeah, then I think about with the 4-man rotation right now. Ramir Johnson, I really like Ramir. He runs really hard. He's just on the smaller end of the scale, and he's really fast. And I think he could do a lot of damage on like situational downs, maybe like third down passing downs, where he could like go out and run some routes out of the backfield. I like him for that. Is he going to be doing too much? Is he going to be doing a lot of like in between the tackles runs this year? I'm not so sure. I think that could be like a Jack Ezziant, Anthony Grant, Gabe Ervin kind of combination there, and just to find out who separates themselves out of that group. And I think, I don't know, I'm just really excited to see what Jock can do this year. I think he's put a lot of work into the off season, both mentally, physically, off the field. So I don't know. I like my pick. We'll see if it comes true though.
Same with yours. We'll see how it goes. And like I said, we'll have to revisit this like 2 weeks into fall camp to see, kind of what the early tea leaves say. And then we'll have an even better sense of what's going on. But I think that it's a really good discussion. And I want you guys to all keep it going in the YouTube comments. Let us know, what do you think? Will Nebraska is there more likely to have a 1,000-yard runner or a 1,000-yard receiver? And who would be your pick? I know a lot of you like Yant out there. We see it in the comments every week. And so we'll see how that goes. But make sure you guys are liking the YouTube channel or liking the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll have plenty more content coming here on the Hail Varsity YouTube channel. Also, make sure you're subscribing to hailvarsity.com. Make sure you get all of the inside information and also the magazine on a monthly basis. And we will catch you guys next time.